This is the very classic medical entrance question that you'll get all across the world. And today I'll be showing you guys how I would answer and tackle this kind of question. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Darren and I just finished my first year of med school at Monash University here in Melbourne, Australia. Why medicine, or why are you studying medicine, or why do you want to choose a medical career? All those different forms of the same question. All these forms are posed to medical students or aspiring medical students all across the world. Regardless of what type of interview you're sitting, whether it's a panel interview, whether it's MMI, they will try and sneak this question in to try and really unveil what are your motivations for studying medicine. And today we're going to be dissecting this question. Fun fact actually, so I only applied for Monash University's medicine because I didn't really want to leave Melbourne. And at the MMI interview for Monash University, they actually posed this question to me. Now today's video will be split into two parts. In the first part, I'll be talking about how to answer this question, what structural components you should look to include in your answer. And in the second part of this video, I'll just be giving you a sample response. Enjoy. There are three areas that you kind of want to touch on in your answer. Now the weighting of these areas changes a bit depending on whether you have someone who is studying medicine in like your immediate family, or someone who's a doctor or in the medical field, or whether you don't have someone like that. And I'll be explaining that in a little bit. Essentially the three areas are 1, interest, 2, family influences or just influences, and 3, work experience. Firstly, let's talk about interest. Now interest is the general part of your answer here, and it includes a range of things, and most obviously probably the fact that you want to help people in the most direct way possible. But it can also include the fact that you want to work with people, that you think health is really important, that you're really good with your hands and you really want to do things very precisely and cleanly with your own two hands. So all of those things can come under this general interest bracket. Interest is just this really general reason why you want to study medicine, this broad motivation, whereas the other two aspects are much more specific to you. Secondly, family influences. Now this has to be something that's very specific to you, and only talk about this if you actually have it. I'll be letting you guys know how to combat the issue if you don't have someone in your sort of close family who is working in the medical field, and I'll be getting into that. But essentially, if you do have someone or people like that, then definitely mention them, because it's really specific and really grounded. It's not like you saw a doctor doing an operation in a television show. You've actually got people in your family who are nurses, doctors, physiotherapists, who've worked with patients, who you've spoken to, and so you know what the whole medical journey is like, you know how tough it is, you know what it's like in the hospitals, and that has given, and with all that knowledge, you want to study medicine. So that's a very sort of informed and a really grounded and much deeper motivation and adds a lot more depth to your answer in addition to the interest part. Thirdly, work experience. I highly recommend anyone who's aspiring to study medicine to go out and do some work experience in a hospital, at a rehab center, anything like that, because it's incredibly valuable, firstly. But if we're talking about it in the context of an interview, it shows you have a real passion for medicine because you've actively gone out and sought experience before you've even graduated. So any work experience that you've done, make sure to mention it in your interview. Talk about what you gained out of it, what you did very specifically, so there's like no doubt as to what activities you participated in, what you learned from all those interactions with medical staff, with patients, and that will really, really boost up your answer because you've had a taste of medicine and that has made you love it even more, and that gives a lot of strength to your answer. For those of you who don't have someone immediate in the medical field, you'd be lacking a bit in the family influences or influences category. Now what's really important here is to make up for it. I would say do acknowledge it in your interview. Say that I don't have anyone in my immediate family who's working in medicine or as a doctor, but I have actively gone out to see what life as a doctor is like. And this can include things such as doing more work experience, going through your careers advisor and really asking very in-depth questions about medicine, asking them if they can put you in contact with anyone who's studying medicine, looking at past students, even contacting me. And those things are really important, because if you don't have any influences and you just sit there and don't do anything, then there's nothing really strong backing up your reason to study medicine. Whereas if you don't have any family influences, but you don't let that stop you, instead you go out and really seek to find out what life as a doctor, as a medical professional is like, that shows that you have a real passion for it and that you honestly and truly want to study medicine. Alright, now I will give my sample answer. Now this wasn't my actual answer, for the reason that I'm going to change some details about it, but it's generally quite similar to what would be a very good answer for you to give. I want to study medicine for a really broad range of reasons. Firstly, I want to help people in the most direct way possible, and I think medicine is a really good field for that. The reason being that a person's health is the most important thing in their life, and the fact that I can help them maintain good health or even actively combat a disease with the patient is a very fulfilling idea to me. Also, I do have medical professionals in my family. So my grandpa was a doctor and my mum is a doctor, and I've spoken to them in depth about what life is like as a doctor, in hospitals and clinics, and also as a medical student as well. And especially with my mum, seeing her work extremely long hours and how tired she is and how upset she can be as well when things aren't going that well. But ultimately how invested she is in her work, how much she loves working with patients, I think that has just really increased my passion to want to study medicine. And that's with full acknowledgement of the difficulties in medical school and in hospitals, which I've learned from both my grandpa and my mum. But ultimately, my strongest motivation for studying medicine is my grandma. So my grandma has had a autoimmune disease for the last 30 years, which is really debilitating. So we've seen a lot of doctors and a lot of hospitals, which has meant that she's also been on kidney dialysis for the last 3 years. Now, through this experience, I've met a lot of doctors and I really admired them. I like the way they carry themselves, I like the way they interact with my grandmother, the way they treat her, and also with the operations that she's had. I think the way they do them, the way that they can actively cut out bad, malignant tumors is really admirable to me, and I feel like that is someone who I would aspire and like to be in the future. But also being around patients has been a very powerful impact as well, especially in dialysis where the patients are there for 3+ hours. And through that experience, I've really seen how important health is, how much these patients want to just be healthy, want to be able to run around, want to be around their family. And I think that's something that I really want to help people with, so that they can be in the best health and do the things that they love and the things that they want to do in life. So those are my main motivations for studying medicine, that I really want to help people, that I've spoken to people in my family in depth and learned what medicine is actually about, and not just this fluffy image of it like a TV show. And also my grandmother's experiences and being with her. She lives with us, and actively going to hospitals very often and meeting patients and doctors. That's why I want to study medicine. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. Hope this has helped you guys answer this quite difficult question. So that answer that I just gave was quite strong. It had all the elements that you would want, because like the person I was being had actually experienced all those things. Definitely don't make things up. I highly don't recommend that. If you don't have things to say, turn it into a strength by going out and seeking more work experience, or seeking out people who are working in the medical field, or actually contacting hospitals. Do more to make up for what you don't have, rather than fabricate things. So if you have any more sort of medical questions, interview questions you'd like me to cover, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Also, Happy New Year to you all. I hope it's a lovely year that is not marred by any kind of global pandemic again. Thank you for tuning into today's video, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.